So my name's Liam. I'm a sophomore at St. Joe's. I'm on the Pride Leadership Committee. I'm also a biology major, and I identify as bisexual and or queer.
My name's Carrie. I'm a sophomore, English major. I identify as genderqueer and queer, and I use they, them pronouns.
So my name's Ethan Flanagan. I'm a senior here at St. Joe's. I identify as gay. I use he, him, his pronouns.
Hi, my name is Julia Henninger. I usually go by Jazzy. I'm a sophomore sociology major, and I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I identify as bisexual.
Well, my name's Casey. I'm a sophomore class of 2020, and I use he, they pronouns.
When I came to St. Joe's, I actually was out to my friends, all of them, and then my parents, which was hard to do, but I did it because I wanted to go into college feeling like I was comfortable and had a space at home.
Coming into St. Joe's, I came in as a transfer, so I already was kind of behind with making friends and getting to know people and getting to know my own academics here, and also figuring out my identity, so I was already at a disadvantage.
I have been out since I was in 8th grade, actually, and I've been out to my parents for years. So coming to a space where that wasn't something that people already knew about me, and having to reintroduce that aspect of myself was a lot more challenging than I anticipated.
Within the first few months of me moving in, I came out to my house, my transfer house, and let everyone know that I was queer. And not even a few weeks later, one of my roommates started spreading lies, saying that that I tried to take it, or I was going to try to take advantage of her while she was drunk.
Coming onto campus and living in my suite freshman year, I sort of fell back into this isolation, and I really didn't want to tell anybody, and I was just really uncomfortable for a while.
I went on a service trip over spring break, and while I did really enjoy the experience overall, there were certain comments that were made that I wasn't really comfortable with by people who I think did not necessarily know what my identity was, and I'm sure wouldn't have made those comments if they did.
This year I've come to fully realize it and come out and address my own pronouns and have everybody else do it. So within classes, my pronouns have just not been addressed.
I remember this one time we were sitting in someone's common room. This one girl said, "You're either gay or you're straight, and that's just it." And I wasn't out at the time, and I consider this girl one of my closest friends.
A lot of people, not in intending to be offensive, but would just ask a lot of questions about my identity, would ask a lot of really personal, invasive questions about being gay or gay sex, or just really things you don't want to answer, but you feel you have to answer in order to help people reach an understanding about something.
A specific instance would be one of my favorite professors, within the classroom and also outside, who is also prominent in our alliance and is himself a gay man. He just repeatedly used the wrong pronouns for me and repeatedly said, "Does everybody have his or her paper? Does everybody have his or her notes?" and just kept coming at it.
I didn't become this outcast of the house, but it definitely forced this narrative that just because I'm queer and possibly also black, that I could be problematic in any kind of way.
There were certain slurs that were used in a joking manner, which made me really uncomfortable.
I'm not a quiet person, and I really stand up for what I believe in. That's something that I sort of value about myself. I immediately fired back, and I was like, that's not okay. How can you say that someone isn't valid to love men and women and people who are non-binary?
In the moment, I didn't call anyone out about it, and I almost feel like I kind of regret it, because I do understand that as being a part of the LGBTQIA community, you're kind of an educator, even if you don't want to be, because you know better, and other people should know better, but they don't necessarily.
I definitely overcame that just by being able to find a group of queer students on campus. There were 2 people, and they were both RAs, and they really helped me because they just were a link to the community that I wasn't getting on my floor, and they just kind of gave me tools and tips, I would say. to be able to like address people's concerns while still, you know, maintaining a level of privacy and dignity that I didn't feel I was getting.
So to kind of combat that, or like what did you say, like get over it or move past it, I was able to do that by talking to other people who are trans, and that was really helpful. And then I went and talked to him and reminded him of my pronouns, and while his reaction was not as helpful as I would have wanted, he instead said that he did know and that he had just messed up and apologized for it.
So I challenged it in the moment and I sort of overcame it then, but it's something that I've always had to question, I guess, about myself. Like I really, really struggled to realize who do I have the capacity to love. To limit love is like the stupidest thing ever because it's so undefinable and unimaginable, but like infinite in what it is, that for people to say that you have to love the opposite sex or like you can only love a certain amount of people is just silly to me.
The second would be just being misgendered on a daily basis and not knowing how to combat that without being too aggressive, or is it worth it to take the time to educate anyone in a public setting?
I guess the way that I kind of reconciled it was being able to come back here, come to this space and like talk to people who are also queer and kind of being validated in that discomfort helped me understand that I wasn't overreacting. It really was fair for me to feel uncomfortable in that situation, and it really helped me to have that community that we do have here to feel supported.
So I think like the biggest thing while coming into St. Joe's was not knowing how people would react. Like ending up finding a solid queer community was probably the best part about St. Joe's.
I fell into this hole after like sort of coming out, but then I sort of dug myself out of the hole and found a way to be myself, and now I get to have the privilege to be this person that people can hopefully look to and say like, if he can do it, maybe I can do it too.